There are towns in the United Kingdom where you can buy a house for less than a used BMW, places where properties have sold for £1, areas where land is discounted so heavily, it looks like someone made a typo in the listing. Sounds like a scam, right? Here is the thing. In Britain, nobody is walking up to you with a deed and saying, "Welcome to your new life, stranger. There is always a reason the price is that low, and that reason is almost always population collapse, economic decay, or geography that polite society has quietly agreed to avoid." But here is what nobody tells you. Buried inside these struggling markets is serious cost of living arbitrage. And if you are smart enough to audit the math instead of chasing a postcode with a cool coffee shop, you might find the financial reset that your overstretched city life has been quietly destroying. Today, we are going through 12 small UK towns that function like free land deals. We are exposing the real catch, the real numbers, and the one place where the offer is so absurdly good you will immediately start Googling what winter feels like there. 1. Liverpool, Anfield and Granby. The £1 house illusion. The headline was irresistible. Homes in Liverpool sold for £1 sterling under a council regeneration scheme. £1. Here is the thing. You had to fully renovate them, typically spending between £40,000 and £70,000 minimum, and you are contractually required to live there for 5 years. Miss your renovation deadlines? You breach the agreement and potentially lose the property. The median Liverpool home price today sits around £170,000, which means you are building equity you genuinely could not afford to access elsewhere. But here is what nobody tells you. You are not buying a house. You are buying structural decay with a loyalty contract attached. Damp walls, complete rewiring, roofing failures, and foundational repairs are not optional. They are the product. Translation: it is a forced renovation project disguised as generosity, and the council knows exactly what they are doing. Picture yourself in Anfield, standing in a brick terrace with no kitchen, exposed floorboards, and a £1 deed in your pocket. 6 months later, you are stressed, over budget, and building more equity than anyone paying rent in London. The math still works. Just go in with your eyes open. 2. Stoke-on-Trent. Auction arbitrage. At its most honest, Stoke does not pretend to be glamorous. Terraced homes at auction regularly appear for between £10,000 and £25,000. The median house price sits around £145,000 and the cost of living runs about 14% below the national average. Real talk, rental yields in Stoke can exceed 9 to 10%. That is a number that would make a London property investor quietly choke on their oat milk. The catch is straightforward: limited high-paying employment, some genuinely rough neighbourhoods, and appreciation that moves like cold treacle. Translation: your mortgage payment might be cheaper than London parking. Picture yourself in Stoke owning a fully paid-off terrace, while your university friends are still negotiating with landlords over deposit disputes in Manchester. 3. Cumnock, Scotland. Sub £100,000 ownership. Cumnock is a post-coal town in East Ayrshire where homes regularly appear under £90,000. Rental rates hover around £550 per month. Glasgow is nearly an hour away, which is either a deal breaker or irrelevant, depending entirely on what you actually need from a city. But here is what nobody tells you about towns like Cumnock. The ageing population and limited career infrastructure are not secrets. They are the price you pay for the median home price. The question is whether you are buying a home or buying a lifestyle. Translation: you will not be entertained, but you will not be broke. Picture yourself in Cumnock with quiet streets, one supermarket and a heating bill that is still your largest monthly expense, because you no longer have rent. 4. Blaenau Gwent, Wales. Valley discounts with government backing terraces in Blaenau Gwent have appeared at auction for between £20,000 and £50,000. The median home sits around £110,000, and the area has received government-backed regeneration funding, which means infrastructure investment is at least theoretically on the table. The catch is a rainy climate and limited private sector growth. Translation: bring your own job. The house part is almost embarrassingly easy. Picture yourself in Blaenau, Gwent with rolling green hills outside your actual window, your commute being a drive rather than a 45-minute underground ordeal. 5. Sunderland, the northeast entry point. The auction properties in Sunderland regularly appear under £30,000, with a median home price around £150,000. Regeneration investment is ongoing, though economic growth remains uneven across the city. Real talk. This is a cheap entry ticket with modest upside. Cold coastal winters are not a metaphor here. They are a meteorological reality you should experience firsthand before committing. Picture yourself in Sunderland buying near the sea for less than a deposit on a London studio flat. Sick. Hull, the port city. Reset. Hull offers terraces from £15,000 to £40,000 with strong rental demand from students and workers. The median home sits around £145,000. But here is what nobody tells you about Hull. The flood risk zones are real, the terrain is relentlessly flat, and the wind comes in off the Humber with a kind of personal hostility. Translation: affordable coastal city living minus the postcard glamour, and plus a very serious conversation about flood insurance and building codes. Picture yourself in Hull walking the marina and owning your home outright before 40, which is a sentence that sounds impossible in most of the country. 7. Inverclyde, Greenock, sub £100,000. Scotland homes in Inverclyde cluster around £90,000 to £110,000, with commuter access to Glasgow and some regeneration incentives still active. The financial logic is sound. The meteorological logic is less forgiving. Here is the thing. Greenock holds the record as one of the wettest towns in Scotland, which is an extraordinarily competitive category. Translation: financial freedom under permanent grey skies. Picture yourself in Inverclyde owning a home within commuting distance of a major city, having spent considerably less than your peers, watching the rain from a window you legally own. 8. Hartlepool, low price, low pressure. Homes in Hartlepool appear under £30,000 at auction, with a median around £140,000 and strong rental yields. This is not a place with cognitive dissonance between its marketing and its reality. It does not have marketing. It is stable, not spectacular, and sometimes that is exactly what a deteriorating savings account needs. Translation: boring enough to make your bank account genuinely happy. 9. Rhondda Cynon Taf, Welsh Valley. Value homes here range from £25,000 to £50,000, with a median around £120,000. The community identity is strong and the scenery is genuinely striking in the literal sense of the word. But here is what nobody tells you. A car is non-negotiable, the terrain is steep, and transport links to major employment centres require planning. Translation: beautiful mornings overlooking green valleys and Amazon deliveries that take longer than you have been conditioned to tolerate. 10. Barrow-in-Furness. Industry. Anchored stability. Barrow is economically tethered to defence shipyard employment, with a median home around £155,000. If you work in that sector, this functions as a retirement cheat code. If you do not, the geographic isolation of the Furness Peninsula will reveal itself very quickly. Translation: the right industry makes this a financial oasis. The wrong industry makes it a very long drive to everywhere else. 11. Copeland, West Cumbria, discount self-build plots. Copeland has offered service plots for between £30,000 and £60,000, designed to attract families and workers willing to build. Building codes, septic systems, and unincorporated land considerations are all part of the due diligence here. Real talk? Construction costs are rising across the UK, and the windy Cumbrian coastline will test the patience of even enthusiastic self-builders. Translation: cheap land requires expensive patience. 12. Clackmannanshire. Budget Scotland near real cities. Clackmannanshire offers homes around £120,000 within commuting reach of both Stirling and Edinburgh. Affordable housing initiatives exist specifically to retain residents. The catch is small town social dynamics and limited nightlife, which, depending on your age and bank balance, may sound less like a warning and more like a sales pitch. Translation: affordable suburb without the suburb price tag and a commute that does not require a mortgage of its own. Here is the pattern. The era of affordable living did not disappear. It relocated to former industrial towns, to windy coastlines, to valleys and post-shipyard communities that most people scroll past while searching for somewhere with better brunch options. These are not freeland fairy tales. They are economic reset zones, and they function as such precisely because the people who could benefit most from them are too busy paying for prestige in cities that genuinely do not need them. Stop paying for a lifestyle you cannot afford in a city that doesn't need you. The cost of living arbitrage is real, the median home prices are documented, and the financial math is available to anyone willing to run it honestly. The safe list is short. Always budget renovation costs at double what you expect. Research employment infrastructure before you research property listings. Visit in winter, always in winter, because winter is when a town stops performing and starts telling the truth. Subscribe and like, because the next affordable opportunity will not be advertised. It will not trend, and it absolutely will not wait.